Let's talk to Peter Cardwell. Rishi Sunak's been around and about giving interviews right, left and centre. This is not going to be good news for him, Peter, is it?
No, it's not. And his insistence that the Rwanda policy is some sort of deterrent clearly isn't right. You've got the highest number so far this year, 15 separate boats. I mean, this is just not good. The weather is better. We know that the weather is going to, well, we hope anyway that the weather is going to be good during the summer. And this may well have been part of Rishi Sunak's plan to hold an election early to say, were it to be held, for example, in September, well, you'd have
Right.
had a number of months of boats coming across the channel.
Well, I mean, this is one of the theories, isn't it? That had he done it later, there would have been so many people coming that he would have
Yeah.
had absolutely nowhere to go. I mean, by my reckoning, that's about 58 to 60 people per boat. I think we might as well stop calling them small boats because they're obviously not.
Well, indeed, and they're overfull as well. They're dangerous. It is a dangerous crossing for these people coming across. They are taking a risk, but at the same time, they're thinking that the reward of life in the UK is worth that risk. So certainly, it is an embarrassment for the government. And of course, it brings this question again: where is the deterrent? How are they going to stop this? And how would a Labour government stop this? They keep saying they're going to smash the gangs, but actually, what has happened over the past 10 years or so, or longer, is that every time the government innovates with its approach, whether it's to do with lorries, whether it's to do with trains, however it's to do, well, the other side, the people smugglers and the migrants who would want to come over, essentially innovate as well and do something different.
Yeah, absolutely right. What have we got coming up this week? We know we've got the question time debate. We've now got arguments, haven't we, about whether the BBC are going to allow Nigel Farage into that. He said he wanted in. They said you can't be in. He's now going to have another one on a Friday, I think. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, there's going to be an extra one, an extra debate with question time, and that the BBC says is in recognition of how Reform UK are doing far better in the polls than they presumably had expected them to do. We've another poll out actually in the last couple of days that puts Reform UK on level pegging with the Conservatives as well. So the polls are slightly in different positions in regard to Reform UK, but there's absolutely no doubt that they are doing very well within those polls and certainly giving the Conservatives a run for their money. There's no doubt about that. Reform UK, of course, launched their manifesto on Monday, but yes, tomorrow night we will see Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer face off again as part of a BBC Question Time debate. Then we're going to see the Reform, Greens and some smaller parties have their say as well.
Yes, and of course we just interviewed John Caldwell. Big story overnight that he's now defected effectively to the Labour Party. Although having given £500,000 to the Tories in 2019, he says he hasn't actually given them any money, and he's not planning to give them any money this time around.
Yeah, he's going to see how Labour do if they happen to be in government, which seems highly likely, and make a decision in 5 years' time. But look, it's definitely a coup for Labour to say that one of the Conservatives' biggest donors has now gone over to their side and is pledging his support, if not his money. This is there are a raft of people who have supported the Conservatives previously, especially people with lots of money, and it's just another embarrassment for Rishi Sunak and perhaps another signifier of which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, and as of tomorrow, it will just be 2 weeks until July the 4th, Independence Day for a lot of people, and ballot box day for everybody else. It's starting to hot up, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly is. And I mean, we've had the registration window closing now. If you're not registered to vote, you can't register any further. That deadline was last night. And yes, we're in the home straight now. And a lot of the really, it's interesting. I mean, I worked on 2 election campaigns as a special advisor for the Conservative Party. I'm no longer a member of that party. But it's really interesting in the last kind of few days, people who have no interest in politics, people who really aren't following every twist and turn in the way that very, very engaged people like talk viewers and listeners are, they start to get engaged and go, oh, hold on a second, do I have my voter ID? And where's my polling station? And, oh, yeah, what do I think of these people? There will be people who vote for Keir Starmer because they like his haircut. And there will be people who vote for all sorts of different reasons. There'll be people who vote because they like the sound of someone's voice or whatever. But actually, their vote has as much weight as yours or mine, Mike. And it's a very strange thing in a democracy to think that, but that is nonetheless the case. But yeah, it's a big, exciting thing for me anyway, as a political nerd. It's going to be a seismic change, I think, is coming in our country for better or for worse. And of course, every twist and turn between now and election day and beyond will bring you here on Talk.
Absolutely brilliant. Peter, good to see you again. Thank you very much indeed.